Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. How y'all doing? It's Kaiser, and we're talking about a little bit more of Madam Web. So, getting into the information. So, we've got some updates to this story, and well, as I'm pretty sure you can kind of figure out it's not going to go well for this movie. So, specifically, I want to get into a lot of the not only some more of the reviews, the critics' reviews that are coming out, but also I want to get into the numbers, the hard data. So that's what we're going to do. Let's actually look at the information here. So, way back in January, I mean, this is January 22nd, 2024, when this article was published saying that Madam Web was tracking for a worse box office opening than the Morbius. And it's starting to look like that may potentially be true. Morbius had a notoriously bad 15% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, Madam Web has dropped from 18% yesterday to 16% today. And now we have some of the first audience scores coming out. I mean, audiences are a little bit split on this one. So the all audience is saying 65%. The verified audience is saying 65%. All audience is saying 49%. And yeah, I mean, let's be completely honest. I mean, in the interest of intellectual honesty. Now, I mean, with Rotten Tomatoes, you're kind of getting a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, if you know how to kind of read in between the lines, you can kind of start to gauge things. But I mean, there are movies that the critics absolutely love and audiences hate, and movies that the audiences hate and the critics love. There's sometimes where even I'm with the critics and sometimes I'm with the audience. It just kind of depends on the movie. But I mean, this is the kind of film that this is what the critics always are talking about, what they always want to see, what they want more of, which is more feminism, more girl power, more all of that stuff. And considering the fact that this should, in theory, be everything that they want and more, be their kind of like Christmas come early. Well, the fact that they're all railing against this movie tells me that there's something cataclysmically wrong with that calculation and why they are particularly, what's going on there. It raises eyebrows, but yeah. So Madam Web nearly sets new low for Sony Spider-Man universe at Rotten Tomatoes. This is the latest from CBR. Now, what's interesting is they get into a little bit of some of the reviews here. These are some of the newest reviews that have come out on this one. And yeah, they're every bit as scathing as you can imagine. So, while critics praised some of Madam Web's better traits, including its action sequences, there weren't many fans of its story or some of its performances, particularly Dakota Johnson's effort as the title character. According to the Daily Beast, quote, on the basis of Madam Web, however, Sony's Spider-Man universe is now completely lifeless and in no need of resuscitation, unquote. And yeah, Gizmodo saying there aren't any exciting comic book teases to break down. There are teases of teases more than anything else, or satisfying emotional achievements to latch onto. It's a story that only makes sense if you don't think about it, filled with performances that aren't very engaging. And then it ends. That ending does tease that there could be more Madam Web to come, but we'd be very, very surprised if that ever happens. And it only gets worse from there as Carla Hay of Culture Mix lumped in Madam Web with the MCU's latest superhero film, The Marvels, calling them, quote, the Dumb and Dumber of female-led Marvel Comics superhero movies. I'd like to read that again. Quote, they're calling us, along with the Marvels, quote, the Dumb and Dumber of female-led Marvel Comics superhero movies.
Emotional damage.
These are the critic darlings that should love this movie. These are the people that always get the screeners. These are the people that Hollywood loves to send all the little previews of their movies to because they align with the Hollywood message. and they are rejecting this movie outright. That should say something right there. Even Rolling Stone's David Fear claimed that it is, quote, Cats the movie of superhero movies. Literally, literally throwing this movie under the bus with the absolute travesty that is the film adaptation of Cats. And don't get me wrong, that's not a high bar, but I mean, that's kind of the point, is that it's bad. Just how bad? Let's actually get into the numbers. I want to talk about dollars and cents here. So we're going to go back to January 18th of 2024. So this from Box Office Pro was the 3-day opening weekend range projections for this movie. 25 to 35 million, and with a domestic total range 56 to 101 million over its total box office run in domestic. Okay, look, 25 to 35 at this particular time of year when it's not a big summer blockbuster, that's actually a pretty respectable number, but it's still not great. And that could always change, but we just got an update to this. So Box Office Pro put out a new update today, February 14th, and now it shows that the 6-day opening weekend range, 6-day, doubling the time frame, has now dropped from 25 to 35 million to 18 to 28 million. So, I mean, dropped like a rock, almost a whole $10 million in their overall projections on both ends. That is abysmally bad. I mean, you literally cannot make that a worse situation to be in. So usually a lot of these movies are gauged on a 3-day opening weekend. This one's being judged on a 6-day opening weekend, and the actual box office take that they were projecting dropped. That is a major warning sign that this movie is not okay and it's not in good shape. And I mean, with the numbers reporting that the production budget of this movie is about $80 million, I mean, that's not as bad as some of the things that we've seen, like with these massive, massive movies like Marvel's having a $300+ million budget or more, and so on and so forth. 80 million is a lot lower and a little bit more doable, but I mean, it's still, if you just take the most conservative estimate, I mean, that would put, with marketing, advertising, everything on top of the production budget, mean that this movie needs about 160 million just to break even. That's just the most conservative estimate. So the fact that now they're saying that even with that, I mean, the 6-day opening weekend range is only 18 to 28 million, maybe half. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe a quarter to a third of what it should be doing. That's a horrendously bad situation for this movie to be in. Very well, we could be looking at a movie that could unseat Morbius as really one of the worst, if not the worst, Marvel movie adaptations in in another universe. I look, I mean, I think that it's really going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I'm really foreseeing that this one is going to not draw in the audiences the way that they had hoped it would. Now, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. Let me kind of hear what you guys are thinking on that one. Definitely go ahead, hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.